Okay, this is going to be a description of what does Ben Hogan mean by using the inside muscles of your arms in a golf swing. So those are the correct forces to use, right? So there's no pulling, but it's pushing and pushing. If you think inside, you're going to think push this way, push this way. So see what happens. So set yourself up and just consciously, and a lot of people talk about the arms close together. And I think that's half the story in a way. You really have to think about, if you're trying to do Ben Hogan's swing, all the particular things like, okay, if I'm going to use the inside muscles, and that's my feeling, obviously there's not some muscle right here that I'm activating, but I'm thinking this way, right? So I'm going to do this way and this way. You can see that if I maintain that triangle and push, 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 push. So that's what's activating the upper body, is the feeling of pushing back and pushing through, a push and throw also. So it moves the shoulders into a more vertical movement instead of, if I pull back, I want to go this way. If I push back, I want to do something more like that. Right? And you can see how that's much more what Ben Hogan is doing, pushing and then pushing. And so the other thing that happens, so with your trainer, what you'll see is it's a relatively steep face. So the face angle doesn't open and close very much when you do that. It's going to keep you that way and that way. It's almost like maybe 10 degrees off of vertical circle you're doing. And it's a shoulder movement mostly. The rotation of the shoulders in a very vertical plane. So now get that feeling with your club. So you got that feeling, so you're pushing and pushing, push, 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 and just do some little ones. And again, if you're doing Hogan, a little tension in the legs to make structure, then you're going to push and push. Really, this is the goal, is to feel that you're doing that. Don't worry about what happens, because you're in a learning process. So, not bad. So what it does is, it does the same thing as I was talking about the other day. It's a way to keep this face moving, keeping this face relatively pointing at the target through a bigger area in your golf swing. And then this tension is just keeping you, it's sort of like, once you hold this tension in your legs, you can almost forget about your legs. That's kind of how he describes it. It's like, it's taken care of by how you set up. You set up with this little bit of tension, and you don't have to worry about what your legs are doing. They can only kind of move in somewhat the right way. So, push, push. And if it's not likely to be anything like how you swing a golf club, which means it's likely to feel awkward, but don't let that be meaningful to you. So something feels awkward, and then if you do it, if you persist for a couple weeks, it might seem like the most natural thing in the world. You wonder why you didn't do it that way all the time. So, I'm not saying anybody needs to swing this way or should, but if you want to follow the directions in Ben Hogan's book, this is what I think he's doing. So he's keeping things this way. So he's playing what I would call closed to open. Right, so this is open to closed, and this would be square path, and this is closed to open. So even though when he gets here, he's there, but in the critical area, if you see, it's hard to see because you don't see it, the films aren't that good, so you don't see what's happening, but he goes really pretty square back this way first, then the club opens way up. So, and it really opens up because it's going this way. Right? Now it seems to be way open, but it's really not. It's still exactly where it was. It's still facing the ball. Just because I did that doesn't mean it's not essentially in the swing. facing the ball, and then coming through, same thing. It's still facing the ball or through the ball, and then at the very end it releases over. But even then he comes back to that, right? When he's there, that's there. So he's always orienting the face toward his intended target through the whole swing, basically. So I'm going to do one more push and push. I don't know if I would adopt this myself, but it's interesting. Gotta say I like it.